Level 1. First time. The win. It's a Saturday afternoon. Your mate's flat. 6 of you crowded around a laptop, beers open, football on in the background. Someone pulls up a betting app. Arsenal versus Chelsea. Everyone's throwing in 20 pounds. Just for fun. Just to make the game more interesting. You've never bet before. Not seriously. You pick Arsenal because you always pick Arsenal. You don't even think about it. Arsenal win 2-1. Your 20 pounds becomes 430. 430 pounds. In 90 minutes. You stare at the number on the screen. Your hands are shaking slightly. Not from fear. From something else entirely. Something you've never felt for money before. This isn't like getting paid. Getting paid feels like relief. This feels like electricity. Like the universe looked directly at you and said, "You're one of the ones who knows how this works." Your mates are laughing and slapping you on the back. You're laughing too. But somewhere underneath the laugh, a quieter thing is happening. Your brain is filing this away, logging the feeling, cataloging every detail of this moment like it's evidence of something important. They never tell you this part. Every warning, every poster, every responsible gambling message at the bottom of the ad, none of them mention this. None of them tell you that the first win feels like God reached down and touched your forehead. None of them tell you it feels like proof. Proof that you're different. Proof that you're smarter. Proof that luck isn't random, it's allocated, and you just found out you have more than your share. The game ends. The flat empties out. You go home. That night you lie in bed and you're not thinking about Arsenal. You're thinking about the feeling, replaying it, measuring it against every other good feeling you've ever had. It's higher than most of them. Higher than it has any right to be for something that took 90 minutes and 20 pounds. You don't think you have a problem. You won. People with problems lose. Your brain is already planning the next Saturday. The trap is set. You walked in smiling. You're still smiling now. Level 2. Recreational Better. The rules. A few months pass. You have a system now. You've done the research. You follow 3 analysts on Twitter. You track form, injuries, home advantage, head-to-head records. You know things the casual bettor doesn't know. This isn't gambling. This is informed decision-making with a financial upside. You have rules. Strict ones. Never bet more than 50 pounds on a single game. Never chase a loss. Never bet on sports you don't understand. Never bet drunk. Never bet on credit. Never bet before noon on a weekday. The rules are good rules. Sensible rules. The kind of rules a person with discipline would have. Gambling addicts don't have rules. Gambling addicts just throw money at screens and hope. You're not doing that. You're strategic. There's a difference. You're up overall. You've kept a spreadsheet. You know this because you checked it this morning and you're 340 pounds in profit across 11 weeks. You're basically running a small side business at this point. The 50-pound limit becomes 70 on big matches. 70 is basically 50. It's the same category. And this is the Champions League final, which only happens once a year, so normal rules don't apply to exceptional circumstances. You bet on the Wednesday night games now, too. Just the ones you're confident about. Confidence isn't the same as compulsion. You delete the spreadsheet somewhere around month 4. Not because the numbers are bad, just because you stopped needing it. You know where you stand. Roughly. Your girlfriend asks why you're always on your phone during matches now. You tell her you're just checking scores. That's true. You're just checking scores and your bet slip and the live odds, and whether the corner count is trending in the right direction. I could stop whenever I want. I just don't want to. Why would you stop something you're good at? You believe this completely. That's the thing. You believe it the way you believe your own name. You've just never actually tried to stop. Not even for a day. But that's different. That's a choice, not an inability. There's a difference. There's always a difference. Until there isn't. Level 3. Regular use. The person starts to go. The spreadsheet is gone. The rules are gone. The 50-pound limit is a memory you're slightly embarrassed to think about, the way you're embarrassed by things you believed when you were younger and naive. You bet every day now. Not because you planned to. It just happened gradually. The Premier League runs Monday through Sunday, if you include all the leagues. La Liga, Serie A, the championship. There's always something on. There's always an edge to exploit if you look hard enough. The losses started in month 6. Not catastrophic losses, corrective losses, the kind any serious better experiences on the way to long-term profitability. You know this because you read an article by a professional gambler who said variance is the enemy of the amateur mindset. You start depositing more to recover faster. 200, 300, 500 in a week. The deposits feel different from what they used to feel like. They used to feel exciting. Now they feel necessary. There's a difference. You're aware there's a difference. You file that awareness away and don't look at it again. You borrow £800 from your girlfriend. For rent. That's what you tell her. Rent is tight this month. Work stuff. Work stuff. That phrase is doing a lot of work these days. You've started lying in a specific way that feels different from normal lying. Normal lying is deliberate. You plan it. This new lying is reflexive, automatic. Someone asks where the money went, and the story is already forming before you've consciously decided to tell it. You're not choosing to lie. Your mouth is just doing it. That frightens you for about 4 seconds. Then you think about the 3 p.m. kickoffs, and the fright goes somewhere else. Your friends have noticed something. They don't say it directly, but you catch them looking at you in a way that's different from before. Like they're trying to figure out what changed. You know what changed. You're just not going to be the one to say it. You cancel plans more than you keep them. The gym membership expired 2 months ago. You haven't called your mom back in 3 weeks. The flat is a state. You notice these things the way you notice weather, briefly, without it changing what you do next. Somewhere in level 3, the person you use to be stops being the main character of your life. Not all at once. Not dramatically. It's quiet, like a light that dims so slowly you don't notice the room getting darker until you look up one day and realize you can barely see. You don't look up. You've got a 7:45 kickoff to prepare for. Level 4. Dependence. The mind becomes the prison. You wake up and the first feeling is dread. Not about anything specific, just dread, sitting on your chest like something physical. Your brain does a rapid audit before you're fully conscious. What did you lose last night? How much is left in the account? What's on today? Can you make it back? The answers are bad. They're usually bad now. You open the app before you get out of bed. Not to bet, just to check, just to look at the markets, just to feel like you're still in control of something. The act of opening the app is the only thing that makes the dread slightly smaller. Not gone, smaller. This is not what you do for fun anymore. You know that. On some level, buried under everything else, you know that. This is what you do to stop feeling like you're falling. The bet is not the high anymore. The bet is the ground. Without it, you are in free fall. You try to stop for a week. You tell nobody. Just a personal experiment. A reset. Day 1 is restless. You watch the matches without betting, and it feels like watching them through glass. Muted. Pointless. Why are you watching if there's nothing on it? Day 2, you can't sit still. You pace the flat. You're irritable in a way that feels chemical. Your girlfriend asks if you're okay. You say you're fine. You say it too quickly and too sharply. Day 3, you deposit £50, just to take the edge off. Just this once, just to get through the week. And then you'll stop properly when things calm down, when you're in a better headspace. This is not weakness. That's the thing nobody understands, and you need them to understand it. This is not a character flaw. Your brain has reorganized itself. The reward circuitry, the dopamine pathways, the risk assessment systems, all of it has been rewired around this one thing. Asking you to stop betting is like asking someone to stop needing water. The thirst is not a choice. Try explaining it to yourself at 2 a.m. when you've lost 600 pounds and the apps are still open and you're calculating whether the Australian leagues are worth looking at. You can't explain it. You just live it. One bet at a time. One day at a time. One desperate calculation at a time. Last until the reasonable decisions were so far behind you that you couldn't see them anymore. You're the cautionary tale now, the one people point at quietly. Things will turn around. You keep saying this. You keep believing it just enough to keep going. One big win and everything resets. One big win and you pay everyone back and close the accounts and never look at an odd screen again. The big win doesn't come. The losses come. And then more losses than that. Level 5, full collapse. The cautionary tale. There's no dramatic moment when everything falls. That's what nobody tells you. You think there'll be a moment. A line you'll see yourself crossing. A voice that says, "This is too far, turn back." There's no moment. There's just Tuesday. And then the Tuesday after that. And each one is slightly worse than the last, and you're always too deep in the current one to notice the pattern. Your job is gone. You were late too many times. Distracted too many times. On your phone in meetings too many times. Your manager said it wasn't working out. You felt relieved. Now you don't have to pretend anymore. Now you can bet during the day when the European afternoon fixtures are on. Your girlfriend left 4 months ago. She didn't leave loudly. She packed a bag one evening while you were watching the night games and said she couldn't do this anymore. You said okay. You watched the second half. You felt something in the space she left, a hollow, echoey grief. And then the match went to extra time and the feeling went somewhere else. The money is gone. All of it. Savings. Overdraft. The £2,000 your dad gave you last Christmas that you said was going toward a car. 3 credit cards at their limit. A loan you took online at 49% interest that you told yourself was temporary. You've started borrowing in ways that don't feel like borrowing. Your mom's purse on the kitchen counter. Your brother's birthday money sitting in an envelope on the sideboard. You tell yourself you'll replace it. You tell yourself it so often and so automatically that it doesn't even feel like a lie anymore. It feels like a plan. You look like something is wrong. Your face has a look now. People you haven't seen in a while do a thing. When they see you, a small adjustment behind the eyes, a recalibration, like they're trying to square the person in front of them with the person they remember. You used to look at people like you with a specific feeling. Pity mostly. Maybe some contempt. How does someone let that happen? How do you look at your life and not just stop? Now you know. They didn't let it happen. It happened to them the same way it happened to you. One reasonable decision at a time, each one slightly worse than the last, until the reasonable decisions were so far behind you that you couldn't see them anymore. You're the cautionary tale now, the one people point at quietly. Things will turn around. You keep saying this. You keep believing it just enough to keep going. One big win and everything resets. One big win and you pay everyone back and close the accounts and never look at an odd screen again. The big win doesn't come. The losses come. And then more losses than that. Level 6. Rock bottom. The almost end. You're sleeping on your brother's sofa. He hasn't asked you to leave yet. He will. You can see it coming in the way he talks to you now. Carefully, like you're something fragile that might go off. Your health is collapsing in ways you didn't expect. Gambling does something to body. The cortisol. The sleeplessness. The not eating properly for weeks at a time. You've lost weight you didn't have to lose. Your hands shake in the mornings, not from withdrawal the way drug addicts shake, from anxiety so chronic it's become your resting state. Your body is running an emergency program 24 hours a day, preparing for a disaster that is simultaneously always arriving and never quite here. You've stolen from your brother. Not dramatically. Just as card details, saved on a shared laptop, used once for £150 that you absolutely intended to replace. You used it twice more after that. He hasn't mentioned it. He knows. The not mentioning is worse than if he'd shouted. Your mom called last week. You let it go to voicemail. You listened to the message 3 times. Her voice had something in it you hadn't heard before. Not anger. Something worse than anger. She sounded like someone describing a person who used to exist, past tense in her tone, even though she was speaking in the present. She looked at you at Christmas like you were already gone, like she was memorizing your face for a reason she wasn't ready to name. The betting doesn't work anymore. That's the final cruelty of it. The thing that started as the best feeling you'd ever had now barely touches the surface of the hole it made. You bet to feel neutral. To get from -10 to 0. Not to win. Not for the electricity. Just to stop the freefall for a few hours. The first win felt like God. This feels like life support. One night you're sitting on your brother's sofa at 3 a.m. The flat is dark. The app is open. You've just lost the last 80 pounds in the only account you have access to. And a thought comes through clearly, more clearly than anything has come through in months. This is going to kill me. Not eventually. Not as a metaphor. Actually, physically, soon this is going to kill me. You sit with that thought. You don't push it away. You let it be true. This is how your story ends. Unless, level 7, the choice, the fork, you can keep going and die. The math is that simple. Your body can't sustain this. Your mind can't sustain this. You've got nowhere left to fall that has a floor. Or you can try something different. Not because you believe it will work. You've tried before. You deleted the apps 4 times. You made promises to 5 different people on 7 different occasions. Every time you meant it. Every time you were back within a week. But you're still breathing. Which means you still get to choose. Your brother arranges something. Your mom comes. Your dad, who you haven't properly spoken to in 8 months. Your best friend from school, the one who's been sending you texts you never replied to. They're all sitting in your brother's living room on a Tuesday afternoon, and they look exhausted in a way that has nothing to do with sleep. They read things they wrote. Your mom goes first. Her hands are shaking worse than yours. She talks about the person you were at 17. She talks about the person she watches disappearing. She says, I'm not ready to bury you. I'm not ready to say it was. Something breaks. Not loudly. Quietly, like a hairline crack running through something that's been under pressure for a very long time. The grief hits. Not for the money. Not for the losses. For yourself. For the version of you that walked into that flat on that Saturday with 20 pounds and his whole life still intact. That person is so far away now. You've been moving away from him for so long that you'd stopped feeling the distance. You feel it now. You say yes. Your voice doesn't sound like your voice. You don't know if you mean it the way you should mean it. But you say it, and they take you somewhere before you can think about it too hard. The door closes behind you. You think, maybe I can sleep here. Maybe they'll let me sleep. You're not doing this for yourself. You gave up on yourself somewhere around level 4 and never found your way back. You're doing this because your mom's hands were shaking. You're doing this because your best friend drove 3 hours on a Tuesday. You're doing it for the love you stole from and lied to and disappeared on, the love that showed up anyway. That's enough. For now, that's enough. Level 8, recovery. The real work. Recovery is not a feeling. It's a practice. Daily. Sometimes hourly. Sometimes minute by minute when the craving's coming hard. The first days are not peaceful. Your brain screams at a frequency you didn't know it could reach. Not for the money. For the action. For the feeling of having something on it. Watching football without a bet feels like watching a film with the sound off. Meaningless. Flat. Your hands reach for your phone every 11 minutes on average. You count. Counting is something to do that isn't betting. Around day 5 something shifts. It's not dramatic. You wake up and the first thought isn't the markets. It's just morning. Light coming through the curtains. The ordinary neutral fact of a new day. It lasts about 40 seconds before the craving comes back. But those 40 seconds, you hold on to those 40 seconds like something precious. They talk to you in group sessions, people who are where you are, further along the road. They say, it gets quieter. They say, the waves don't shrink, but your ability to ride them grows. You don't believe them. You sit in the circle and you nod, and somewhere under the nodding you are desperately calculating whether they have Wi-Fi and whether you could find a bookmaker that accepts new accounts. You don't act on it. Today you don't act on it. You leave the program after 8 weeks. The real world hits like cold water. Everything is a trigger. Sport on a pub television. An ad on the side of a bus. The sound of a crowd. Your brain makes the connection faster than thought. Bet, a reflex so deep it doesn't feel like a choice anymore. You relapse at 4 months. A work thing. Drinks. Someone mentions a match. You tell yourself one bet just to feel normal in the conversation. One bet becomes an account reopened, becomes a week of daily sessions, becomes the spiral happening faster than you remembered, because your tolerance is gone, but the disease is exactly the same. You catch it. Not immediately, but you catch it. You call someone. You go back to the meetings. You say, I relapsed out loud in a room to people who don't flinch when you say it. Relapse is not failure. They told you that before. You didn't believe it then. You're starting to believe it now. 1 year. You get a year. It doesn't feel like winning. It feels like survival. It feels like standing in the middle of a river and not being swept away and calling that enough. Because it is enough. Surviving is enough. 2 years. 5 years. The whisper never fully stops. You'll be in the middle of a good day, an actually good day, the kind you forgot existed, and your brain will say, quiet as anything, remember the first win. You do. You remember exactly how it felt. You remember the electricity, the 430 pounds, the mates laughing and slapping your back. You remember all of it. You also remember your mom shaking hands, your brother's sofa, the voicemails you let pile up like debt. You remember both things. That's what keeps you sober. Not forgetting the good, remembering everything that came after it. You have things now. A job where people count on you and you show up. A flat that's yours. A relationship rebuilt brick by brick from rubble. Your mom calls on Sundays and you answer every time. These things would be gone in a month if you went back. You know this the way you know your own heartbeat. You go to meetings even when you feel fine, especially when you feel fine. You stay connected because the disease doesn't go anywhere. It waits. It's patient. It does not get tired or bored or distracted. It is simply waiting for the day you decide you've got this handled. You don't give it that day. Today you didn't bet. Today you were present. Today you are alive. Tomorrow you'll do it again. 1 day at a time for the rest of your life. That's the deal. That's the price. Most days it feels worth it. Today it feels worth it. Final reflection. Someone asks you once, someone who never struggled with anything like this, someone whose relationship with money and sport and risk is still clean and uncomplicated. They ask, what was it like? You think about how to answer. You try a few different ways in your head. None of them land right. Then you say, it was like being in a burning building and deciding the fire was the only warm thing left, and choosing to stay. They nod. They don't understand. They can't. But you understand. You remember every floor of that building, every level of the descent, the first win that felt like discovery, the rules that felt like control, the daily use that became need, the dependence that was just survival, the collapse that took everything, the rock bottom that felt like death, the choice that felt impossible, the recovery that feels like life. You went through all of it. You survived all of it. And every single day, you choose not to go back. That's the life of a recovering gambling addict. 1 day at a time.